What's going on, everyone? My name is Dkng with evolutiontraders.com. If you guys are looking to trade live with me each and every single day, definitely join my Discord. That link is down in the description box below. But let's go ahead and take a look at Draftkings, ticker symbol DKNG. So we know that we just had earnings this week, and those earnings were sold. Right now, earnings, I think you could take with a grain of salt, meaning that, I'm going to be real honest with you, okay? I'm not a long-term investor and I hold no long positions. I'm a full-time options day trader and scalper. So for me, I'm going to be watching the markets a little bit differently than, say, an investor would. If you're someone who believes in DraftKings and going to hold for a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, some of these points that I'm going to make are not going to make any sense, okay? So I think that your strategy is different than mine, meaning that your strategy is going to be to dollar cost average down, and you're pretty much playing bigger market cycles, waiting 6 months down the road. What are we going to do in 12 months down the road? Continue to dollar cost average to the downside as well as to the upside. With that being said, being that I am a day trader and I'm going to be looking at these levels from a week by week basis and a day by day basis and a minute by minute basis, my levels and where I see the stock going for tomorrow or for this week or for this month are going to be completely different than, say, someone who is looking to invest in this stock 3 to 5 years down the road. With that being said, it is official and safe to say, based off of the chart, that this stock is in its own bear market. It's in its own bear market. So I'm going to make a couple of points, and I want you guys to pick up what I'm putting down. I want you guys to have an open mind, and I want you guys to be very clear when it comes to understanding what's going on here. What's going on here with DraftKings has nothing to do with the actual company. We know that they're not planning to generate a profit. I keep hearing the CEO is planning to generate a profit, maybe by the end of this year, maybe by the end of next year. But with their cash burn rate and how much money they're spending on advertising to acquire customers is still a 2 to 3 year horizon. They're still going to have a lot of, uphill road before they actually become profitable to where that revenue is going to outweigh what they're spending on marketing and advertising and customer acquisition. But that's not what this video is about. What this video is about is that if you invested into DraftKings May of 2020, now we are in February heading into March of 2022. If you had bought into DraftKings at a price of around $17 to $19 in May, June of 2020, those gains have officially been wiped out 100%. You are sitting at zero, meaning that your total investment over 2 years has netted you zero. Now, I'm assuming that obviously you, if you're trading accordingly, you probably took some profits here. You maybe have taken some profits here. You maybe have taken some profits here. Maybe you added to your position here. Maybe you added to your position here. Maybe you added a little bit more to your position here. Maybe after we broke down this level, you sold the majority of your position, whether you were profitable or you took a small loss. But to the long side, if you have just been trying to buy this dip, you are catching a falling knife. I want to make this very clear, especially to newer investors, meaning that if you have started trading or investing after 2018, so within the last 4 years, if you have barely started to invest into the stock market over the last 4 years, then all you know is to buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip. And essentially, if we just kind of look here, you have been buying the dip since September, October of 2021, and we have consistently, over the past 4-5 months, made lower lows. So 5 to 6 months time almost, you have consistently lost money buying the dip. Now, here's what I'm going to tell you. You, in a bear market, which this stock is clearly in its own bear market, you cannot just simply continue to buy the dip when we are below supply. If you do not know what supply is, then I would definitely recommend you go to my website, evolutiontraders.com, become a lifetime member. I'm going to teach you what supply and demand is. I'm going to teach you when you should be buying stocks. I'm going to teach you when is it swing season? When should you put money on the table? When is it risk on versus risk off? How should you trade these? How should you hedge these positions, what you should be doing. Definitely going to want to check that out. I don't have time in this video to talk completely all about indicators and moving averages and all that stuff. I'm just going to give you the general overview on what's going on here. The point that I'm trying to make is that since September, you have consistently lost money buying the dip on this stock. Now, I understand if you're a long-term investor, your strategy is to kind of average down maybe here. Maybe you do want to average down here, because we could have some sort of recovery off this level and you would be sitting nice here. However, if you're a day trader, you're a short-term swing trader, maybe you're a scalper, there's been opportunities to make good money on Draftkings. For just about over a month, Draftkings was sitting in a very nice channel between $24 to the high side and $20 to the downside. That's a 4-point range that it was trading in for 1, 2, 3 weeks at a time. You could have essentially taken short positions at resistance, and you could have covered your position and bought long positions at the demand. Now, after we had earnings, we've lost that level, and we're currently trading down 21% on Friday and $17.29. Here's what I want to really focus on going forward. Where does DraftKings go? I have no idea. I don't think you have an idea. I don't think any, quote unquote professional analyst has an idea. The stock market is driven right now by a lot of uncertainty and a lot of geopolitical news, a lot of interest rate stuff, a lot of inflation stuff. It's very hard to tell, and it's going to be very hard to, kind of pinpoint the bottom. Here's what I want to really emphasize to a lot of new traders. Just because we're at lows, all-time lows, going all the way back to 2020, does not mean that the stock needs to reverse. This does not mean the stock is going to bounce from here, C32, C50, C74. It does not have to do that. How many of you thought that when we started to sell off here, when we hit these all-time highs here, going all the way back to March of 2021, that we were going to have almost a year's worth of selling? How many of you thought that it was going to be a downward battle for 1 year? Okay, not a lot, right? Maybe you thought that when we had this dip here, we were going to bounce. Maybe you thought that when we consolidated here and started to reclaim some levels, we were going to bounce. Maybe you thought that when we consolidated here, this was the bounce. However, over the past year, we have consistently put in lower highs and lower lows. Okay. So what I want to make clear to you is that even though we are trading at all-time lows, does not mean the stock is coming back up to 30. Does not mean that the stock is going to see 40. This stock could essentially, let's say we do lose and we go down $16, $15. This stock essentially could be trading between $15 and $25 for the next year, for the next 6 months, for the next 3 months, for the next 2 weeks. We do not know. But what I know is that maybe if you're a long-term investor, you can start adding a little to your position here, or maybe starting a position here. But if we do really start to lose this $17 area, you might want to just think about covering your position and getting a better entry a little bit lower. As to how low the stock can go, I really don't know, and I don't think anyone can really guess. I think a lot of us would say that we were oversold at 40. A lot of us would say that we were oversold at 30. A lot of us would say that 24 was the bottom. A lot of us would say that 20. It's very hard to tell. But what I want to make clear is that these stocks do not have to come back up to highs. This stock does not need to go to 25. It doesn't need to go to 30. So even if you invest down here at 17, thinking that you're getting a good deal, does not necessarily mean that the stock needs to come back up to 25. Doesn't mean that the stock needs to go up to 23. It could essentially just trade down in this range for a very long time. As it's shown you over the past year, we've just been consistently moving down, and we are safe to say that Draftkings being down, and I don't even want to think about the percentage, because I know a lot of, especially I have a lot of friends who are also invested in Draftkings in the 30s and even in the low 20s, and I thought that was a great price. But the thing is that I think a lot of you guys are getting information overload, watching a lot of YouTubers videos, thinking that, hey, this is going to be the bottom. How these stocks really can't go any lower. If you just keep buying and holding, buying and holding, buying and holding. But the thing is this is not a swing traders environment. This is not a long-term investors environment, meaning that you can't just go putting a bunch of risk on the table and expecting that because the prices are low or what you think are low, that the price is going to bounce. Right now, this is a cash flow environment, meaning that if you can make money day trading and or scalping these stocks, I would definitely highly recommend learning technical analysis so you can take advantage of those moves instead of just pouring a bunch of money into Draftkings at 17 and looking back at your position 6 months later and still being red or still being in the negative because the stock essentially hasn't done anything. Do you want to lose money over the next 6 months to 12 months if the market continues this cycle? That's the only point that I'm trying to make. Now, here would be the best case scenario, that maybe we start to consolidate down in this area between, let's say, $15 and $17, and we start to put in a new base here, and now we start to push higher. I think that range would be anywhere between $17 and $30 over the next 12 months. 15 and $32 over the next 12 months. Now, anything more than that, I can't really say because I'm not like fundamentally, checking out the stock on the fundamentals and, going to follow each and every single earnings. I'm just speaking on price action, and I'm just speaking from a shorter term perspective. And my perspective, price target between now and the next 12 months would be a high price of 32. And I can be completely wrong because the market can turn around like that. Just the way the market turned around in March of 2020 when we had the COVID bottom and it turned around and stocks put in all-time highs. We could have an official bottom in the next 30 to 60 days, and we can see all-time highs within the next 120 and 180 days. That's entirely possible as well. But just looking at the technicals, I would say between $15 and $32 over the next 12 months. And if that's not going to be sufficient for you, or maybe you want to get a bigger clip on your return, then maybe you should look into day trading and or scalping so you could at least take part in the market without having to have a lot of money just sitting in the market. Guys, I hope this video helps. Please, if you want to trade with me, definitely join that Discord. That link is down in the description box below. Also, subscribe to my channel, hit that thumbs up button so this video can go out to as many DraftKings holders and traders as possible. I would highly, highly appreciate that. Again, my name is Dkng with evolutiontraders.com, and I'm going to see you guys all on the next trading video.